his imagined world. That was because Lowell knew how to listen, to hear others, and through that ability to understand and relate to them. When I saw the film a second time, I noticed that one of the extras in it was a bright but somewhat reticent freshman in our program. He and Lowell were both in my Keystone lab, and undoubtedly through that connection, Lowell reached out to his fellow student and got him involved in the project. Ellen and Fenwick have donated Lowell's film equipment to our program so that others might use it in the future. When I recently voiced some concern that no one might know how to do so, that reticent student volunteered that from his work with Lowell, he could do so. Lowell's ability to listen to others, to understand and to relate to them, will now be passed on in the legacy of filmmaking and community making that he combines so seamlessly. Several of Lowell's fraternity brothers have recalled his tendency to come up with new and wild ideas. In Honors Humanities, we encourage that tendency. We teach our introductory course as Fearless Ideas in the Humanities and invite students to suggest their own candidates for that title. Lowell proposed one titled, I Dreamed a Dream. In his entry, he wrote, "Two of the paramount elements of the humanities are identity and a sense of purpose. The dream world is a place where anything is possible. Dreams are intrinsically humanistic." Lowell was a dreamer in the best sense. He created imaginary worlds in his films, and in his study of government and politics, he imagined ways in which to make the real world a better place. In the tradition of Dr. Martin Luther King's speech, I Have Dreamed. This desire led to his internship on Capitol Hill and to his plans to work for the Federal Emergency Management Agency this summer. It was only in his dreams that Harold could do anything he wanted with his purple crayon. But Lowell made his dreams a reality. He colored his world purple, and in the process made it a brighter and happier place for all of us who knew him. Thank you.
I just want to speak for a moment about longevity, because I believe our culture is obsessed with it. Everything needs to last longer, it needs to be around forever, and that's simply not always the case. And for me, personally, the only way to get through this is to think about, not get stuck on that because you died much too young, but to think about how bright he burned, how bright a light he was to so many people. And for 20 years old, like you've seen in the films, for 20 years old to have done that already, to have already had an internship on Capitol Hill, to bring so much joy to his parents and to his family. There are people 3 and 4 times that age who haven't done that much. And may have dreamed of making a film, may have dreamed of being in politics and never were able to. And so to be 20 years old and to have done that, I mean, that's, my wife and my kids and I were from Maine, and so when I was trying to explain what had happened and telling people, that's all I could do. I could say he was doing so well and had so much potential, and then I had to think again, no, we won't get to see that, but what greatness we did get to see. And again, that is a blessing to all of us, that he held up such a life like that. Because again, you don't, just because you live 60, 70, 80 years doesn't mean you're going to be able to do that either. So thank you, Lowell. We love you.
We had to our place in Wisconsin. We had an acre of land that needed to be mowed. And he jumped on the John Deere riding lawnmower and went at it. And he was a speed demon back then, and he would crash into the lilac bush. And a politician, his uncanny ability to persuade Ellen and Fenwick to buy a car he came of age and wanted to drive. And most of all, a friend. Among all his attributes, I want to speak specifically about Lowell's ability to create and embrace friendship. When we were children, we grew up with some wonderful ideas inherent in something called biosophy, which means life wisdom. This philosophy of life, started by Frederick Kettner, focused on friendship as the basis of our existence. In a short essay, Dr. Kettner wrote, "The religion of friendship leads us to the discovery of the highest values in others. When we become interested not only in the instruction of our mind, but also in the education of our character, we learn more and more adequately how to live by the laws and principles which are expressive of our innermost existence. Humanity has to learn an entirely new language, the language of friendship or creativeness." Lowell embodied the essential nature of friendship. He recognized the highest values in others. He not only learned the language of friendship, but lived it every day in everything that he did. His last movie, In the Midterm, was about friendship, and he told Ellen that his foundation and philosophical ideas contributed to this work. Lowell's presence was large. He was passionate, creative, and engaged in life. He had many circles of friends and drew them together as a matter of course because of how he lived his life. You'll be hearing from many of those circles of friends next. These words by Edwin Markham capture the way Lowell included all his friends. He drew a circle that shut me out. Heretic, rebel, a thing to flout. But love and I had the wit to win. We drew a circle that took him in. Lowell was always drawing wider and wider circles, including everyone. There's a poem by Dr. Kettner that Ellen always enjoyed that speaks to Lowell's depth of character. "To live as a soul, this is thy prayer. In thy spirit being, dissolve all care. What is this being? Thy creative friend. Love, wisdom, purity, peace without end." We will miss Lowell very much and love him deeply. Thank you. Eric?
Hi. I'm Eric Pilsk. I'm not related to Lowell, and I'm obviously not a classmate of his. But I had the opportunity to watch Lowell grow up, watch him through the rearview mirror of our van, in baseball carpools, from the sidelines of countless baseball fields across Montgomery County, and as one of David's friends hanging out at our house. So I want to share with you what I saw. Actually, I want to share with you first what I heard. Because I always heard Lowell much before I saw him. From downstairs, as a bunch of them watch movies or play games, we could always hear Lowell laughing the loudest, arguing and explaining. From the back of the car to and from baseball games, we heard Lowell stating his case for the Yankees, or railing against the umpire or the other team, or just stating his views on whatever the topic of discussion was. And from the stands or chairs next to baseball fields, you could hear Lowell cheering his teammates, expressing outrage at the umpire's obviously wrong call, or shouting in triumph or frustration at his own play. And that was Lowell, often loud, always opinionated, always engaged, and always at the center of things. But what I saw, excuse me, says even more about who Lowell was. I definitely saw that he was kind of goofy, kind of nerdy, kind of different. But I saw that he was propelled by an unself-conscious confidence, intelligence, and passion that drew people in and made that goofy kid the guy everybody wanted to hang with. He turned his friends into his film crew. He turned their parents and their cars into his cast. He turned friends who played jazz and classical music into rap experts. He introduced otherwise healthy eaters into silver diner, fat breakfasts, and a range of alarming junk foods. I know that because I saw the empty cans and fast food boxes and chip bags in our living room the next morning. And if he did not succeed in turning anyone into a Yankees fan, it was not for lack of trying. As a parent, I also saw a young man whose parents gave him the greatest skill of all. Confidence and support to be himself, wholeheartedly, unapologetically himself. And it showed in everything he did, in what passions he chose to follow, in his independence, in the way he naturally succeeded, and in the way that everyone he met became his friends. I don't know what Ellen and Fidwick cooked for dinner, but it was nourishing stuff. There's no satisfying way to end this. It's not right that we're here now talking about Lowell without Lowell. All I can do is be grateful for the time we shared with him and thank Fenwick and Ellen for sharing Lowell with us. I think Lazar is coming up.
Hi everyone, my name is Nazar. I was in Honors Humanities with Lowell. I also lived on this floor for the past 2 years, and I'm also a Maryland Images campus tour guide with him. And I think he really was a significant part of both of those programs that I'm involved with. I have a lot of stories with Lowell over the past 2 years, but one of my favorite ones, I think it really embodies who Lowell was and what he could do for and to people. A few months ago, we had a snow day. It was sometime in February. And Lowell said, "Ness, let's go on a snow venture." I said, "Okay." So it's 2 o'clock in the morning. He says, "Okay, let's go. It's 10 degrees outside. We're all bundled up and everything you can think of." He says, "I know exactly where we're going. Just follow me. I'll be your tour guide." So we walked over to the Memorial Chapel on campus. So it was right down the hall. It was like a 10-minute walk. So we're walking down there. He says, "I know what we're going to do." There's a little pathway around the Serenity Garden where you can just walk a path and you put a rock in the middle. So while you're walking the path, you're just supposed to, think about good memories and just kind of have, clear your head and think about the good times that you're going through. And so we go over there, and like I said, it was a snow day. So he's like, "Okay, we're gonna walk this path. It's gonna be awesome. I love it. I do it all the time." We go there, and the entire path is covered in snow, so we can't see it at all. And I'm like, "Okay, maybe we can come back a different day and do the path another time." He says, "No, we're gonna make our own path." So if you say so. So we start walking around the circle, so we start walking around and making our own path with our footprints. And he keeps yelling at me, "Ness, you're messing up, you're messing up. You have to go in order. It has to be in detail. Why do you keep stepping out of line?" So it's like his attention to detail, like you can see in his movies, and you can see in his organization of his movies on his bookshelf, which is perfect, alphabetical order. So you can really see like how meticulous he was, and he was really telling me like, what to do. But we walked around the circle, we put our rock in the middle, and we were just like talking about all the memories that we've shared over the past 2 years. And just kind of goes to show, like, Lowell was a person who always made you want to go out and have fun and just be with the people that you really cared about. Even if it was against your will, even if he had to drag you out there at 2 o'clock in the morning in the freezing cold, he was the only one that I would do any of those things for and with. And he really just was a great guy, and he was the kind of person to bring everyone together, whether it was in Honors Humanities, whether it was in Images, whether it was beta events, whatever it was, he was always the person to bring us all together. And I feel very unlucky to lose him so soon, but I feel infinitely more lucky to have had him in my life, even if it was just for 2 years. He made a really big impact on my life, and I really can't thank him enough for being there for me these past 2 years and just being an amazing friend and an amazing person overall. So thank you for listening to me. Bronwyn is going to come up next and tell her what
Hi, I'm Robin.
I also knew Lowell through the Honors Humanities program. He lived on the 2nd floor, I lived on the 3rd floor. I didn't really get to know him, though, until the start of 2nd semester. I
first time to hang out with him, he had on some rapper. And I was the girl in the room to be like, who's playing? He's like, it's Childish Gambino. And then I asked a stupid question, who's that? So then I got easily an hour-long rant about Childish Gambino, Kendrick Lamar, Kanye West, and a varying amount of artists I had never heard of before. And then throughout the various months, he would educate me on the different types of music he liked. And then I, over spring break, was very inspired by his passion for music, because he not only wanted to share what he had, he wanted to make me have his love for music as well. And no one had that before with me. I had many friends who are into music, classic, rock, rap, whatever, but no one had ever wanted me to have that passion as well. And that meant a lot to me. I could sit up here all night and tell you stories, but he was probably somebody who will always inspire me, no matter now that he's dead. When he was alive, he did it too, all the time. Thank you for letting me share my story, and thank you for also making me feel that I can love Lowell just as much as all of you. The next people to come up are people our cast from his last movie in the midterm, which I highly suggest you see. It's pretty great. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. We are the cast from In the Midterm, which, if you don't know, was Lowell's last big bonanza of his film project that he did for the Honors Humanities program. So first is Molly, and she'd just like to say some words.
Hi, for those of you that don't know me, I played Madison, if you've seen the film. And I wrote something the night of May 11th, and I sent it to Lowell's parents a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to read part of it today. So, Lowell was my friend. In the year and a half that I knew him, we took 4 classes together and spent countless hours on the pride of his college career, if I do say so myself, and that was the film project. But it's too selfish to say that he was my friend, because Lowell was a friend. He was a friend to everyone he encountered, even if he only met a person once. Every time he saw them after that, he'd make sure to greet them with a smile and ask how they were. I realized just how many people he was a friend to immediately after the announcement of his passing. His entire Living and Learning community, his fraternity, the Images Tour Guide group, and the cast of our project gathered together in his campus home, Anne Arundel Hall, just to avoid being alone. I've never seen such a large group of people stricken by such grief. I've never seen tears like that, or heard moans like that. But as we all sat there that May night, hot and sweaty and salty with tears, holding each other just too closely because we couldn't hold him, I was glad. Because if that many people came, it meant Lowell had touched that many people. I did a project of my own on Lowell's film project, and I asked him what the name meant. I still have the recording of his answer. He chose the title because college is the midterm of life. We're no longer children, but the midterm takes what we learn from childhood and helps us prepare for the rest of our lives. For Lowell, this was not the midterm. It was his final project, and that's what breaks my heart the most. But the name wasn't the most important thing about his film. It was the meaning. Because college is difficult, like midterms, and we have our friends to get through it. For a brief time, they become our main support system as we hang in this limbo without our parents, but before our adult lives. Lowell wanted his film to highlight the unique quality of college friendships. I believe he succeeded. After all, a group of near strangers came out of this project, a group of close friends. And Lowell showed us the best sides of ourselves. His favorite thing to say during filming was just one more shot. And on the last night of filming, we all posted pictures on Instagram, joking Lowell would still want one more shot. His Instagram name is Mr. Sunshine, which is his nickname. And just like the sun warms everything it touches, so did Lowell.
One of the things that was so amazing about Lowell is his all-inclusiveness. When we first got together for the read-through of the script, he said to us, I may have written this script, but now I present it to you. This is our project now. And it was so much more than that. He went through so much, and he would always tell us, he would have these ideas and these sudden moments of, oh, okay, well, you need to say it exactly like this. I like the way you're saying it, but this is my image, this is my vision. And we would say, okay, and he'd say, you'll understand when you see it, you'll understand when you see it. And when it all came together, you really could. And there were so many more things. I went to see him speak at the symposium, and when he gave his presentation, he explained things that we had actually never heard about before. And I think that the most important, or the one that stood out to me, was, if you've seen it, the very last scene of the film, we're all walking up these stairs, and then we stop. And he said, those stairs, as we're walking up, it's symbolic. And it can be symbolic of many different things. But the thing that stood out to me the most was the symbolism of the ending. If you've seen it, you know that it stops, and it just holds there for a moment, like a photograph. And he said that the symbolism there is that when we all stop at the top of those stairs, you can't see the horizon, you can't see where we were going or what we were going to do next. But he said that in that moment, you know that they're together, and you know that in that moment, everything's perfect, and they're all going to be friends, and you hope in your mind that it's going to stay that way. And I believe that that really shows, if we look right now, this is a photograph, and in this moment, we are all here together, and we all love Lowell so much. And I believe that he really has a testimony through that film and through that ending to show that no matter where we go, in this moment and in those moments, we're all together. Thank you.
One of Lowell's fraternity brothers and a cast member in the class. Lowell joined our fraternity, Theta Pi, in the spring of 2014. He was always enthusiastic about any activity we participated in. No matter the event, I came to expect Lowell to be there with a huge smile on his face and some fantastic ideas in his head. In chapter meetings, we snap to show our agreement with a statement that somebody's just made. When there was a unanimous opinion about a certain issue, you hear snaps fill the room. However, due to Lowell's unbounded enthusiasm, oftentimes during discussion a statement would be made, and out of the silence you would hear one lone snap start to roll. I would turn my head, and there's Lowell with a big smile on his face, slowly nodding his head with all of his support for what was being said. This is the way he felt about most things that we did as a fraternity. Always bringing an energy that inspired the rest of us to work to better our organization and have a lot of fun doing it. He fully encompassed our core values of the cultivation of the intellect, responsible conduct, mutual assistance, integrity, and trust. It made him a perfect recruitment chair for our last year, helping to select the next class of Betas who also represent these values very well. Lowell spent his last year and a half being one of the most active brothers I've had the pleasure of knowing. As a brother who has regretfully not been able to spend as much time with the fraternity as he would have liked in the past, I have only known him for a short time. Thankfully, Lowell did ask me to be a part of his movie, which is how I really got to know the incredible man that he was. Unfortunately, I do not have a lifetime of memories that will remind me of his honesty and compassion, but the impression he has made on all of us in Beta and all of us here in such a short time is so profound that I know I will have a lifetime of memories ahead of me that are shaped by Lowell's inspiring character. Now, I know that Lowell loved symbolism and metaphors, so I thought I'd share one of my own in reflecting on this time. There's a wonderful piece of music by John Cage titled 4 minutes and 33 seconds. The song is performed by having the pianist or other musicians walk on stage and take their initial bows. They take their places at their instruments, and that's it. They sit there for 4 minutes and 33 seconds in complete silence. They get up, take their final bows, and walk off the stage. I think this is particularly funny because the audience members have to sit and contemplate that they just paid money to listen to musicians sit with their instruments. But the piece forces the audience to listen to the music that is being made around them. The squeaks of moving shoes and shifting seats, the delicate pings made by dropped items, the underlying drone of the running air conditioning unit above. Whether they realize it or not, the audience is listening to the music that there is when there is no music. And I actually was thinking about that right now when we were in interludes between films, and there's a baby who is obviously loving everything that's happening. So I just think there's a lot of beauty in the moments that we don't really think are important. So this is kind of how I think about Lowell's passing. He was a song that was full of vibrant melodies and complex harmonies, the kind of song that you listen to and it completely turns your day around. And when you listen to it, you can't help but realize that something so simple as a song can make a huge impact on so many people around. But when that song isn't there, there still is music playing. Lowell has taught me that it is so important to cherish all of the little moments that give us a reason to smile. All of the small interactions with other human beings that make us feel alive and loved, because sometimes life is way too short. We don't have time to worry so much. So, thank you, Lowell, for teaching me how to live life to the fullest, how to love and be loved by the friends and family that you care about, how to unconditionally show support for people that you don't even know yet. You have touched everyone around you in a very significant way, and the brothers of the Delta Omega chapter of Beta Theta Pi will hold your memory high as a symbol of what we hope to be in our lives. I love you, we all love you, and we will miss you very much. Thank you. I believe Michael Tobin is coming up to speak.
Hi guys. For those of you who don't know, I was Lowell's roommate for the past 2 years at the University of Maryland. You go into college hoping that the person you meet, the roommate that you are assigned at random, will be someone you get along with, someone who is a friend. But you don't think that that person's going to become your best friend, your first friend at the university. And that's what Lowell did. And to me, especially now looking back, but throughout the past 2 years, I've thought about it, and it was really the small things that Lowell did every day and for everybody that really just captured my heart and made him one of the best roommates that he could ever get. We did so much together that I don't have time to tell you story after story of watching the mountain ski, going to Slices to get macaroni pizza at 2 a.m. It's just so many things that Lowell wanted to do, and that he was so enthusiastic about doing. I couldn't say that. It was the small things, the things where it was my birthday on May the 9th, actually, and he stopped the music at 11:59 and made everyone in the room sing Happy Birthday. For those of you who don't know me, I'm not the type who wants to be the center of attention and get a Happy Birthday sung to me. I'm just like, okay, let's just go. But it was that kind of thing that Lowell wouldn't let go. Even if he was just like, I'm not feeling well, I'm going to go home soon. He would do it for you because he was that kind of person. He was that kind of friend. I like to try hard. I like to know what I'm doing. So one day I locked my books in the Anne Arundel Library. And I was freaking out because I hadn't had that. So and I'm not about to fail my math class. So I go up to the room almost in hysterics because I don't know anything about that math. And Lowell's like, oh, come here. He gives me a hug. He's like, where's your stuff? He walks down with me. And I don't know what he did, but it was locked, and then all of a sudden it wasn't locked. I'm like, what happened? He's just like, it's all good, man. It's all good. And to me, that meant the world. Lowell was, as I like to say to him, he was accepting to a fault. We would go to, like, have a gathering at one of the people's houses, and it's just like, he was the person who was like, bring 6 people with you. We had like 6 people, and then by the end of it, there's 30 people in the lobby. I'm like, they're gonna kick us out. What are you doing? We can't show up with all these people. And Lowell's like, no, man, I'll find a way to make it work. And you know what? He always did. Lowell was taking way too soon. I miss him every day, especially now that finals are over and I don't have anything to distract me. Just reflecting. But, you know, it's this reflecting on the good memories that has gotten me through these past couple of days because there's so many of them. And while I'm heartbroken for us all, and for myself, for his friend from Home Apart, for his family, for his Leah brothers, for his humanities, for community people, and so many people that Lowell touched. Like, as we said before, I'm glad that I got the chance to know him, and I got the chance to know him, because he truly did make my college experience and all of our lives what they're today. So thank you all for your kindness. Thank you for your acceptance. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for everything.
Hi, my name is Ellie Musgrave. I was Lowell's girlfriend in senior year of high school, but I was really lucky to have been able to have him as a friend for my entire high school career. We met in the 9th grade and became friends after we both realized that we were both really into Eddie Izzard as a comedian, which is something that most 14-year-old, I guess 15-year-old boys at the time wouldn't pick up on. But I was very lucky to have him as a friend throughout all of high school, especially senior year, which was very, I guess, difficult just for me personally. A lot of my friends, including Lowell, were getting into colleges and accepting offers and getting into places and doing amazing things. And I went into senior year with a GPA of 2.3. So, didn't really make sense for us to go out on paper, but no, he was an amazing influence, and for someone who had a lot of trouble in high school, he was always someone who wanted to, as so many people have testified to, make a smile happen, to bring some kind of happiness, even if it was after a full day of math class. You know, all the different things that we went through. We would get in his car, and he would put on some song, any song that he thought, you know, would make me happy, or would bring me some kind of happiness. And you know, I kind of forgot about everything when I was with him, and he had the ability to bring people together and to be a friend to so many people, as we can all see. But he also had the ability to make you, as a singular friend to him, feel really special and really unique, and like you mattered a lot. I'd like to, I guess, get this out of the way. But the night before I heard, it was the Monday night, and it was before I had received a call. I live in New York, and I was at a diner, and the only channel they were playing on television was playing the Yankees and Rays game. I'm a really big Red Sox fan, which makes senior year very interesting. And I said, you know what? I don't have to, you know, let me watch the game. Let me see who's pitching. And of course, it's CC Sabathia. But I just wanted to say that a little difficult for me, but I really do hope the Yankees take it all the way this year. There we go. But I also wanted to say that just kind of testify to some of the smaller things that have come to light recently. There's a video game in which one of the captions is one of the turning points in the game. The game tells you suddenly memories of Princess Zelda come rushing back to you, and that's kind of exactly what happened when I heard that Lowell passed away. All the small memories, we didn't say in great contact, which I now deeply regret, but I always knew he was there if I wanted to come home.